Well, the good news is the transfer window is over. The also good news is we spent a decent amount of money this time, but we were net sellers. The bad news is most of the money I spent is on youngsters who aren't going to see first team playing time for probably at least 3 to 4 years. But that's the plan we have here at Jaen. So far it's working well, but as I'm very fond of saying, Custer had a plan too. Today we have a couple La Liga games and a preview of our Champions League knockout round. And then, well, we're playing Cadiz, so anything could happen. My name's FM20. It's time to get real. We had a very good January. As you can see from the schedule here, our only loss was to Real Madrid in the Supercopa final, which frankly nobody was really worried about. We got a little bit of money for it, not a lot, but the nice thing is everybody for the most part stayed healthy through this. We beat Sevilla 2-0 thanks to an Israel brace of goals. We played Barcelona in the Supercopa semifinal. Maria had a brace of goals to see us through there. And against Madrid, Antonio Augusto had an 88th minute goal, but this was one of those games where look at all the yellow cards. I swear the game figured out that we have not gotten a yellow card in The game's figured out we have not gotten a yellow card in ages, and it's bound and determined to make up for that fact. I could not believe the amount of yellow cards we had here. Part of me says this may be a little bit of home cooking in terms of refereeing, but I can't prove that. Against Eibar, we needed a 92nd minute Roundup goal to see us through. I was kind of ready for the draw. We went ahead after Israel scored in the 78th minute, then Elliot Musselwhite equalized in the 81st minute. I literally threw my hands up in the air and about walked away from the table. And then Roundup scored a goal in the 92nd minute to see us through. This was a game we should have won a lot more easily. We had 18 shots, 11 on target, a slight possession advantage. Eibar's a good team, but we were much better than them today. I mean, if you look at the ratings we had, Uche had a 7.5, Augusto a 7.8, Israel had an 8. Tollefson a 7.8, Maria had a 7.3, and I thought it's after he scored the goal, so maybe he didn't have the best game, but still, most of Eibar's squad was 6.8 or worse, and we just could not get it done against them. It was freaking annoying. But we got ourselves right against Athletic Club, beating them 4-0, Verdonk a goal, Israel a hat-trick's worth of goals, including a penalty kick that I actually remember to put him on for so he could try and get his hat-trick. This was a solid all-around effort by everybody. The defense was good, the midfielders were good, the strikers were good. Maria's fallen off a little bit, but Verdonk has more than picked up the slack. And then in our Copa del Rey third round match, we played Burgos. They are Segunda B Group 1 team, and we handled them quite easily. Verdonk, Israel, and Benvenuti a goal. This wasn't really a match. They had 4 shots, 3 on target. We had 33 and 13. I literally went to cautious the second half of the game. I came off the attacking, and we still scored 2 goals. It was just, we outclassed them from beginning, and it was easy to see. Against Valladolid, we needed a Herdier Mutsila goal in the 94th minute, and I'll show you him here in just a minute. He's one of my youngsters. He came on as a replacement. Seferovic had a really solid game. Uche had a solid game. They had 15 shots at target with 13 and 5, and this was one of those where neither team really wanted to win, and I was ready for the 0-0 draw. And then Mutsila scored in the 94th minute. We eked out the win. Another FM extra time goal that gives the team a victory. And then in the Copa del Rey fourth round, we played Almeria, and we won thanks to goals by Verdonk, Benvenuti, and Maria. Maria broke his scoring schneid, for lack of a better term. It's been a while since he scored. Everybody had a solid game from beginning to end. We had 23 shots, 12 on target. They had 11 and 7. They're a solid League 2 squad, but we outclassed them today. So, but the 4 yellow cards is still annoying as heck. We are still in first place in La Liga. We're 5 points ahead of Barcelona. Barry Verdonk leads us with 21 goals. Antonio Augusto with 7.58 rating and 14 assists and 6 players of the match awards. Benvenuti 9 yellow cards. Israel has 1 red card from earlier in the season. Our 51 goals scored are second highest in the lead. Our 16 goals allowed are first. We got 52 yellow cards. Jesus. If you take away the 8 we had in the one game, we're actually doing fairly well, but still, that's just annoying as all heck. So, transfer window-wise, On the outs, Martin Matasevic went to Shanghai for 55 million euros. They made an unsolicited offer for him, and he jumped all over it. And frankly, the money was too good to turn down. I mean, he's a capable player. I would have kept him on the squad, but I made a lot of money on him. He was a solid player for us. Had some very solid seasons for us. But for a guy we brought in for 350,000 euros, turn around and sell him for 55 million euros. That's kind of the way we're going to have to do things here at Jaen if we want to stay ahead of the big boys. We got to find young players, develop them, and sell them on for profit. One of the other reasons I was willing to let him go was that I could move Verdonk back up to striker and get Tollefson. Good grief, Tollefson starting full time at winger. So I've got another young winger duo. Hopefully this one turns out better than Ely Mathis and Lemaitre. With Matasevic, he's also 26 years old, which isn't a bad age, but it's also one of those ages where you really got to start paying attention to his abilities. He's 4-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He likes big matches. He was a solid player for us. 48 goals and 138 appearances, and then some very good loan spells. But frankly, the money was just too good to turn down. Ilas Navarro, who is a player we brought in at the beginning of the season from Porto, went out on loan to Pacos de Ferreira. Robert Fernandez went to Villarreal for 5.5 million. We got lowballed again. This is another Lemaitre in the making. He's valued at 17.5. He wasn't happy here. I wasn't happy with him. I was more than willing to let him go, and we just freaking got lowballed on every offer. But it got to the point where it was like the Villarreal offer was the best one. We brought him in for 5.75, literally 5,750 euros from Chiclana Industrial, who are a regional squad in Madrid. He was one of the first players we found through the Viking Dan Throw Him in the Van Youth Movement. And he developed into a really solid player for us. Solid, not spectacular, a 7.12, 7.13, 7.05, decent assist on the right wing, or on the as a defensive right back. Came to us as a midfielder, but he just never really kind of fit in there. I probably screwed him up by playing him a little bit all over the place before I decided to retrain him as a fullback. So he's not the fastest, but he has really good stamina. Technically, he's not the best. Mentally, he's solid. The teamwork, the work rate, the determination, that's all nice. His marking and tackling were more than adequate for this level of football. It's just, he wasn't really getting any better. 3-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, 22 years old. And he wasn't happy to be here anymore. Plus, he was a freaking yellow card machine. So, I was hoping maybe moving him on would mean our yellow cards would go down. Apparently, I need to look at players like Benvenuti or something like that. Romer de Decker, who was another player we brought on loan this year. Or no, we bought him this year. Went out to Estepona on a loan. On the ends, first in, Victor Lawel from Kano Pillars. 18 years old, midfielder. Kano is an African squad from Nigeria. I've got a couple scouts just rummaging around East Africa and West Africa saying, hey, find me a hot prospect. And for whatever reason, Victor had been let go by his squad. One of the things that I was really impressed by was he's 18 years old and his physicals are already this good. His mentals are solid. The 17 bravery, 16 determination, 13 flair, 14 decision making. The vision and work rate it's decent. It's a 10. I mean, it's mid-level, so it can't get any worse, I would think, unless you really screw something up in the training-wise. He's got 11 first touch, 14 technique. That's the other thing that kind of appealed to me. He's a solid deep-line playmaker, and frankly, I have a weakness for good midfielders with potential, and he's a good midfielder with potential. It seems like for me, I don't know about other players, but it seems like for me, every save you have, there's always one position where you tend to overbuy players, even though you may already have good ones on the roster. And for me, with this save this time around, it's midfielders. I've got a ton of quality midfielders to the point where, I'm going to have to move some of them on and possibly lose money on them. But we'll have to wait and see. Martin Olsen comes to us from Udinese. 21 years old. I needed depth at the advanced midfielder left position. I like Rune Tollefson. He's got potential. He's 18 years old. I wanted somebody who was a bit more established. Despite the fact he's 2.5-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability, I think this is a case where the stars aren't exactly reflective of the player, if that makes sense. He's got very good physicals, with the exception of the jumping reach, but he's not supposed to be in the scrum in front of the net. Mentally, he's solid. I love the 19 determination. The off the ball, the work rate, the composure, aggression, anticipation are all very nice. Technically, he is very, very good. He's a very good corner kick taker, decent at crossing, nice first touch, okay passer, decent technique. He came to us injured, so he should get his next start against Osasuna in the Copa del Rey. And he's just... He wasn't a big scorer at Udinese. He only had 7 goals. Part of me wonders how much of that was injury related. I didn't go back and check. He went to Udinese from Copenhagen for $3 million. They turned around and sold him for 17. I think he's got a lot of potential, and frankly, he's going to get a decent amount of time here. And if for whatever reason he doesn't fulfill that potential, or he's not as good as I think he'll be, yeah, we're going to lose a little bit of money on him. But at this point, we're in a position financially where we can afford to lose a little bit of money. I don't know that I would move him on for free, but it's a risk. And at this point in the save, with the money we have and where we are, it's a risk worth taking, I think. Hertier Mutsila, who we highlighted earlier in the save, comes to us from RSC Anderlecht for $26.5 million. Now, these past 2 transfers, I could have fussed around with the money, said half now, half later sort of thing, appearance bonuses and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is, I still have a huge transfer budget. I mean, I've got 173 million euros in the transfer budget. And that's after all the sales and players I've bought. And I've still got 600,000 euros worth of wiggle room in the salary budget. So they wanted a flat up straight offer for him. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? So he's very solid physically. Mentally, he is outstanding. 16 anticipation, 16 composure, 17 decision-making, 15 determination, 12 positioning, 13 teamwork, 16 vision, 16 work rate. He's got a 19 passing already. He's 18 years old. He is going to be my midfielder of the future after Firmin Malo moves on. Or he will be pairing with Malo. Or there's a decent possibility I could also make him a ball-playing defender or a libero in the defensive backfield, which could be interesting. He's 18 years old. We'll see what happens the next year or two and go from there. Right now, I have him retraining as a midfielder, but the ball-playing defender option is interesting, to say the least. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Miko Stevic comes to us from Red Star, $17.5 million, going up to $19 million. I needed some depth at defensive center back. I went looking around. He was probably one of the better youth players at that position. 19 years old, 3-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, solid physically. Mentally, he's very good. 20 bravery, 15 anticipation, composure, concentration, decision-making are all 13 or better. 16 determination, 19 teamwork, 13 heading, 14 marking, 14 tackling. The rest of his technical skills are subpar at the moment, but then again, he's 19 years old. Those will only get better with time. He's going to get a little bit of playing time here. Depending on what happens in the summer transfer window, he might move on loan, but I'd also be comfortable bringing him in off the bench, a la Benvenuti 2 seasons ago. Hakan Zeren comes to us from VfB Stuttgart on loan. I needed some depth at defensive right back, especially after I moved Fernandez on, and I didn't find anybody I liked that I was willing to pay money for. And this came near the end of the transfer window. There were a couple options out there, but one of them was 60 million euros, and I didn't think he was a 60 million euro player. One of them was a 35 million euro player, and he was good, but he was also 31 years old, and frankly, I'm not signing players over the age of 30. I don't think I've yet to sign a player over the age of 30 in this save. I've inherited players over the age of 30, but I have yet to sign a player over the age of 30. Hakan Zeren is a 2-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, defensive right back, and wing back on the right. Physically, he is very, very good. Mentally, he's solid where it counts. Technically, he's very good where it counts, I think, especially for a kid who's 18 years old. 13 crossing, 11 first touch, 12 passing, 12 tackling. The marking is a little bit on the low side, but that'll get better. But frankly, he is my backup here. I've got Uche moved over to the right, and Zeren is my backup, but he will definitely get some playing time for us. And then Jed Christie comes to us from Newcastle. I needed some help up top with Matasevic leaving. I wanted somebody who was a decent complete forward, could also spell Maria. Christie is 18 years old, 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. Very solid physically, very solid mentally where it counts. Technically, he's very, very good. 16 crossing, 17 dribbling, 17 technique. The off the ball and the off the ball is a little bit on the low side, I think, for this level of football, but it's workable. I mean, you can work with that, especially if the players around him help facilitate him, in which case I think they will do here. For some reason, he's never gotten a start at Newcastle, not even on their B squad. They brought him from Derby County for $5.25 million. I'm going to keep my eye on him. It's possible that if he's available for the right amount of money, we could definitely pick him up. I think he's got a lot of potential. And he can only grow, especially in some of these areas. You know, we get him in the right mentoring group, his determination will go up. His positioning will go up with the right training in that. So it's going to be... I'm interested to see how well he does. He will definitely get some playing time for us this year. And that is it for the transfers. This year, we sold 156 million euros worth of players. We bought 113 million euros worth of players, and we're still making money because we brought Havranek back. That's the one thing that did happen. We sent Havranek to Valencia because when we brought him in, we promised to get him a loan move. We sent him to Valencia. He got 5 starts the first half of the season, and that's after I went to them and said, "Look, you need to be playing him. You're paying all of his salary. You're paying 150,000 euros a month, and why? For him to sit on your bench? 175,000 euros a month for him to sit on your bench?" I had more than one instance where the coaches and the assistant manager said, "Look, bring him back. He can be playing full-time for us." So I did. So he's unhappy. But he's playing for us. Him playing defensive center back is the big reason I'm able to move Uche over to the defensive right back. So today, what are we going to do? I talked about it in the intro, but I'm looking at this thinking we're probably going to change our mind. Yeah, this is already gone 60 minutes. What we're going to do is play Cadiz offline. We're going to come back and play the Copa del Rey match, and we're going to call this an episode. And as you can see, we've got Bayern in the Champions League knockout round. So the next episode is going to be Bayern Athletic Madrid. The next episode is going to be Bayern and Atletico Madrid, and then after that, it'll be probably Bayern and Villarreal. So I am going to play the Cadiz game offline. We'll come back to a quick review of that, and we'll get ready for the Osasuna match and our Copa del Rey 5th round. They are still, they're in the Liga. They're 14th. Solid squad. So, yeah, we're doing really well. Barcelona's lost 3 games. They've drawn 3 games. It's the big reason why we are where we are. Madrid's kind of had an off season. They've drawn 5 and lost 6. 41 points is still good, but for a Madrid squad, maybe not good enough. I'm wondering. I'm going to keep an eye on Gallardo here because it's possible he could lose his job. It's just not a good enough showing for Madrid. So, anyhow, we will be back in just a bit. Well, the Cadiz game won as expected. We beat them 4-0. Well, I shouldn't say the Cadiz game won as expected. Cadiz always has the opportunity to just royally get one over on us. They've been kind of our bogey team this save. I don't know what I was thinking there. But we beat Cadiz quite handily this time around. 4-0, thanks to 27 shots, 12 on target, a 57% possession advantage. Barry Verdonk had a brace of goals. Robert Maria goal, Augusto goal in the 67th minute. Juan Carlos Fernandez got sent off for a double yellow card in the 84th minute. Everybody on our squad had a really solid game. Even Seferovic, even though it's on a 6-8, he had some very quality saves for us. So we've got Osasuna coming up in the Copa del Rey, and we'll be back with that in just a bit. A slightly rotated side today, but I am confident in this team's ability to get the job done. Mostly. So we have Seferovic in goal, Broderson, Stevic, Benvenuti, and Zarin as our defensive back 4. Van Horn and Malo as our midfielders. Tollefson and Resnicek as our attacking midfielders. Verdonk and Maria up top as the strikers. Had I been thinking about it properly, I would have started this squad against Cadiz, and that way I'd have my full strength squad against Osasuna. But at the same time, all these players are good. Some of them are just young. But they'll get better with playing time. I mean, Broderson and Tollefson and Van Horn, they're all good young players. Seferovic taps it over to Benvenuti, who almost loses it, but he gets it over to Zarin. And Zarin gives it away to Darian. And his shot goes wide right, just barely. Osasuna is still playing on that square of a field. Resnicek from outside the box sends it in. Martinez, a very nice save. He bombs it forward towards Tinku, who gets it, goes around the defender like he's standing still, in front of the net, but he pushes it wide left. Resnicek again from outside the box, and Maria is there with the header into the goal, Well done, Robert. His 12th of the season. That's a quiet season for him. 12 goals isn't bad, but... Well, frankly, with Verdonk scoring, 22? He's taken a lot of goals away from Maria, and that's fine. Van Horn on a throw-in to Resnicek. Gets by one, crosses it in, but it's a bad cross. Vilhena picks it up, sends it to Martins, who just bombs it forward. Stevic trying to get to it before it goes out of bounds. He does. Centers it to Malo. Back to Benvenuti. To Malo. Benvenuti. Back to Stevic. He tries getting it for Verdonk, but overkicks him. Osasuna picks it up. Malo, however, heads down that pass. Maria to Resnicek. Resnicek has help, but he gets by the one guy in the box. Instead, centers it for Verdonk. Tries again and misses. And finally, Kuraz slide tackles the ball out of bounds. Corner kick in for Jaen. Tollefson. Stevic. Oh, off somebody. I couldn't tell if that went off an Osasuna player or a Jaen player. Let's see here. It bounced off Kuraz. I wonder why they're not counting that as an own goal. Probably because they thought the ball was going to go in if it hadn't hit Kuraz anyways. Okay, that was lucky. We're ahead 2-0. And frankly, that second one was a bit of luck. I will be the first to admit it. Oh, good grief. My assistant coach has been falling down on the team talks lately. Saul from outside the box, and it gets by Seferovic. He got a hand on it, but it wasn't enough to stop the ball from going into the net. Holy cow, that is a square field. Vivian with the header, and just Seferovic guessed. He just didn't guess quick enough. Benvenuti to Zarin. Back to Benvenuti. Over to Van Horn. Long pass to Zarin. He holds it up. Taps over to Malo to Resnicek. Resnicek's pass is knocked away. Zarin sends it to Maria. Sends it back to Zarin. Verdonk to Maria in the box. Big scrum. Kicked out. Tinku has it. He's slide tackled by Benvenuti. I think we were lucky to avoid the foul there. We're coming up on 60 minutes. We need to make a couple of changes here. We're going to move Verdonk back to winger because Tollefson is not having the best game. And we're going to bring on Jed Christie. Broderson is also not having the best game at defensive left back, but Pagano's on the bench. And for the moment, those are going to be the only two changes we're going to make. They're definitely more match fit than they are. We just haven't really been able to take too much advantage of it. Malo intercepts that pass. He drives forward in the box, holds it up, tries crossing it in, but he's dispossessed by Sanchez. The ball, however, goes right to Benvenuti. He gets it to Stevic, over to Verdonk. Long pass towards Resnicek. He drives forward, takes the shot off Martinez, catches the post, and goes inside. That's only Resnicek's second goal of the season, but to be fair, he's not a goal scorer. He's an assist guy. I want to say he's in double-digit assists again this year. We'll have to take a look at that here in just a minute. Coming up on the end of the game. Not exactly a comfortable win. Saul. From well outside the box. Taps to Sanchez. Back to Saul. Back to Sanchez. And Seferovic, a nice save. That was a quick transition. Oh, Vilhena fouled Resnicek. He's off. No, just a yellow card. Celta Vigo's beating Real Madrid. Benvenuti heads his ball wide right. Martinez to Saul. Ruiz. Last chance for Osasuna to score. Martin to Jose. He holds it up. Gets it out Pieri on the left. He crosses it in, but it bounces off a Jaen player. And that is the game. A comfortable 3-1 win for us. Maria goal. Stevic a goal. Resnicek a goal. He's got 1 assist this season. That's because he's been coming off the bench. That's right. So, a solid game for us. 17 shots, 7 on target. They're 11 and 8. We got lucky, but sometimes you need a little luck. So what we are going to do, as I'm clicking all over the place here, is... So here's what we're going to do. The Copa del Rey semifinal is coming up, so we're going to play Sevilla offline, come back for the Copa del Rey semifinal, and then play Bayern in the Champions League first knockout round. That's going to be at Jaen / Granada. And then come back and do the second half of the semifinal and the second half of the Champions League knockout round next episode. So, a couple of solid wins for us, a decent transfer window. I'd be interested in your feedback on that, whether or not you would have sold the players for what I got for them, or if you would have bought the players for what I bought them for. But like I mentioned earlier, we've got a ton of money in the transfer window. So, and frankly, I think we can afford to lose a little of it taking the risk on some of these younger players. If you did like what you've seen and heard, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, questions, criticisms, comments, leave those down below. I will answer those as fast as I can. My name's FM20.